Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Wednesday, May 14th, and you have come on board the Comic Hall. I'm your host, Dylan Lang. I host another video show on Sundays called Dylan Knows, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This week, I will be doing my paranormal show with my special guest host, Larissa at Daphne Do, and we should be talking about all kinds of things paranormal. So if you like this and want to see more from me, please check out the show, 12:30 on Sundays. I do a regular comic show besides this one. It's always the first Sunday of the month. I will be doing another special comic show the end of the month, doing our second part of our Batman celebration with my co-host MJ Khan and our friend DH Gamer. So without further ado, this is the Comic Hall. What is the Comic Hall? For those who haven't watched before, this is my video show where I talk about what comics that I picked up this week from the comic store, and got quite a few of them today. Here is the Comic Haul for this week. Pretty good. So we'll go down the line again, doing, as always, in order, DC, Marvel, and then Independent. So without further ado, let me have a swig of beer there, clear my throat here. Let's get moving. First from DC. Probably our pick of the week because I love this series, and it's only on its second issue right now. Justice League United, #1. #0 came out a couple weeks ago. I read it, absolutely adored it. It's a brand new Justice League. Here's the cast looks like. There's Star Spangled Girl and Adam Strange, who I absolutely adore. Green Arrow, Animal Man, Martian Manhunter, another good one I adore, and a Canadian superhero, which I can't remember her name right now, which is a shame. Also, Supergirl should be popping eventually, as should Hawkeye, or not Hawkeye, Hawkman, I should say. It's written by Jeff Lemire, or Lemire, depending on how you want to describe it, and drawn by Mike McKone. Now, what's interesting about that is Jeff Lemire is Canadian, and this originally was supposed to be called Justice League Canadian, because as you can see in the United, there's a Canadian maple leaf there. So the headquarters would probably be Canada, and they're probably more like a Justice League International type of thing, too. But so far, the first issue was excellent, and the second issue is looking just as stellar. So my pick for this week from DC is Justice League United, so I totally recommend that. What's interesting about that is, take a look at some of the artwork in here. Actually, I'm going to show you Adam Strange's first appearance. There's Adam Strange, so you get to see what some of the artwork looks like. Mike McKone's a really good artist, been around for a while. The one thing I did notice, which I didn't like in here, is that new style Lobo, who I do not like, apparently is beating Hawkman, which is dumb, to be honest, because this new Lobo looks absolutely ridiculous to me. And Hawkman is a badass, so I don't know. What you also get, though, is you also get a sneak preview of Superman #32, which would be the new creative team of Jeff Johns, John Romita Jr., and Klaus Janson. So, get a good idea of what's coming up with that. So, it should be interesting. That's in all of DC's comics this week. So, Justice League United #1 is my pick of the week, and check it out. It is definitely a brilliant series. Also, we've had some leading up to it, but now the actual event is now here. Superman Doomed #1, which is going to be running through Superman, Action Comics, Superman, Wonder Woman. I think that's all of them that's going to be running through, but it's just going to be staying within that. This is a one-shot, so this isn't a regular series. This sets up the whole thing. I was leafing through it, and it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. When I first heard about this, I thought it was going to be a new take on the death of Superman, but it still could. But I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending of this is, from what I saw, I haven't read it in the context yet, but from what I saw, it's very interesting and should lead to interesting crossovers, which reminds me, actually, hold on real quick before I get to that. This one is has all three writers who are writing it. Scott Lobdell writes Superman until, I guess, until Jeff Johns comes on. I wonder if he's going to take over a different one then. I don't know. Charles Soule writes Superman, Wonder Woman, and Greg Pak writes Action. So all three of them wrote this, and it's drawn by Ken Lashley. Some pretty good stuff. Here's some Cyborg. Looks like some Cyborg and some Wonder Woman are involved in this. And let's see if we can get a good shot of Superman. There's got to be a pretty good shot of Superman in here somewhere. Ah, yes, there it is, right there. And there's Ken Lashley's Superman, so should be pretty good. And Doomsday, two of them fighting, pretty good right there. So should be interesting. So we'll see. I'm interested in reading that, so we'll see what's going to happen. So what's going to happen is, so that was the one shot that leads into it. So the first two parts of the crossover actually came out this week too. Action Comics number 31, Superman Doomed, issue 1, Greg Pak, Aaron Kuder, Rafa Sandoval, and Vincente Cifuentes. So there's some interesting things here, pretty good artwork. And Greg Pak's been doing a really good job with it, so should be interesting to see that. And Superman Wonder Woman number 8, which is the second part of Doomed, with Wonder Woman there on the cover and Superman in the background. Charles Soule writes, Tony S. Daniel does the art, Matt Banning and Sandu Floria, I should say, double team on the inks. So this is pretty cool. Wonder Woman meeting up with Batman. And it's actually, as you can see, it's so there. So it should be pretty interesting to see that. And I'm not going to, this also goes into more detail about what's going on, so I don't want to, I'm not going to show you any other pictures, but Tony Daniel's artwork is absolutely lovely in that, and Charles Soule is writing the heck out of the book, even though I'm still not a big fan of Superman and Wonder Woman being together. That's just me, though. Now we get into the weekly books here from DC. DC is going to be running 2 weekly books concurrently. I think until next month, or not next month, next year, into around, I think, March or April, when something big is going to be happening, and we don't know what that is yet, but we shall see. There's some rumors going around about that it's going to be the New 52 version of Crisis, which might lead into Multiversity, which is coming up soon, though I think Multiversity is coming up sooner than later because they have a little behind-the-scenes thing in that, and some of these books also. Let me see if I can find it, because I did just see it. But some of them have these Superman crossover. Oh well, we'll have to figure out if I can find Multiversity again. But so the first weekly we're going to talk about is Future's End number 2. Number 0 came out on Free Comic Book Day. Number 1 came out last week, and number 2 came out this week. So that's a pretty good cover right there. Great writers involved with it. Brian Azzarello, Keith Giffen, Dan Jurgens, Jeff Lemire. And this issue is drawn by Jesus Marino with inks by Dan Green. So it takes place in the future, and the main character appears to be Batman Beyond. So here are some of the futuristic looks at some of the characters. Firestorm, Wonder Woman, Dead Man, more heroes on the ground. Should be interesting. So we'll see how this all ends up tying things up, and we shall see. So haven't read the first. I read the 0 issue, but I haven't read number 1 yet. So I hope it's pretty good. So I'm keep an eye out on that. Next up is Batman Eternal, which is the Batman Weekly going on right now. Batman Eternal number 6. This one is mainly written by James Tynion IV, which actually is very interesting. He was at my comic store today signing. I didn't get it signed because I was in a hurry, but he was signing this as well as his new creator-owned book that I talked about last week on the Comic Call. Seemed like a nice guy. He was talking a little bit about answering questions from people, and he made some jokes, and it was kind of funny. So Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV did the storyline. The script is by Ray Fawkes, and contributing writers are John Layman and Tim Seeley. The art this week is by Trevor McCarthy. So. And this has the Multiversity preview in it, so we can take a look at that. So let me see if I can find something here. So it looks like we got some magic and some Batwing involved in this. So hopefully that's going to have something connection. I'm about an issue behind on this, so hopefully I'll get caught up with it soon. Pretty interesting storyline so far. Here's Mr. Dr. Phosphorus. Looks like is coming back in this one. So. Should be interesting. So Batman Eternal number 6. There's the cover for it again, in case you missed it. Trevor McCarthy is doing the art. Oh, Multiversity. That's what I wanted to show you. I mentioned Multiversity. This is Grant Morrison's new series is coming out either next year, or I guess if they're showing the ads for it now, it'll probably be coming out this summer. But here's just a quick teaser of what Multiversity is going to look like. So pretty interesting characters. We'll see what's going on. So hopefully it'll be good. Grant Morrison can go either way with me. He does some good stuff and some not so good stuff. So we shall see. Next up is Astro City number 12, which is actually from the Vertigo line from DC, but still. What's interesting about this issue is I love Astro City. It is probably one of the best comic books ever written, and it's out there now. Kurt Busiek is the writer. And up to this issue, Brent Anderson was the artist on it. But apparently Brent Anderson needed a little bit of a breather because we have Graham Nolan doing the artwork, who I actually love also. I've met him a couple times because he lives in Pennsylvania. And he was one of the definitive Batman artists during the 90s, I guess. 80s, no, it must have been 80s or 90s on Detective Comics. So for the first time ever, from what I recall, Brent Anderson is not doing an issue of Astro City, which is interesting in and of itself. But Astro City, for those who don't know, I highly recommend this series. Pick up the trades. There's 6 or 7 of them, could be more than that, but the series is excellent, and the new comic is on issue 12 right now. The premise is Kurt Busiek's really good at doing a real-world look at superheroes. So basically, he focuses on regular people who live in a city filled with superheroes and how they respond to the stuff. And then sometimes he does some, stories on superheroes as well, but they're not the main focus of it. And then he also covers it from the villain's standpoint, the viewpoint, and other people's viewpoints as well. And it is really good. Alex Ross, fantastic cover artist, has done all the covers. It's still doing all the covers for it, and does a lot of character design along with Brent Anderson. So it's interesting that this issue is the first one that I've ever seen that does not have Brent Anderson on it, and you can totally tell it has a totally different vibe to it. Not that it's a bad vibe, because I love Graham Nolan. So here's some of the heroes. Super Clown guy knocking out him, and looks like it's going to be focusing on one of the bad guys. Which is a unique experience. So, and they're all good stories as well. So, fantastic. So, I highly recommend Astro City. I recommend everybody pick up Astro City. I recommend everybody read at least some of the trades. You will fall in love with it as well. Astro number 12 is out this week. I think it was supposed to be out last week, but for some reason it didn't, and they changed it to this week. So. Kurt Busiek on his Twitter said it came out this week, so it said it was going to be out last week, and it wasn't, so I was kind of bummed, but now it is. Next up, back to the regular DC, we've got Batgirl number 31. Gail Simone is knocking it out of the park here. She comes back, and in this issue, she brings back one of her favorite characters, Ragdoll. I highly recommend also, if you've never read Secret 6, which is pre-New 52, I recommend you run right out and you get some of the trades for the Secret 6. Fantastic story. Just fantastic. Just in general, just everything about it. Artwork, storylines, fantastic. Ragdoll is one of the heroes in Secret 6. And as what I can recall, this is Ragdoll's first appearance in the New 52. So Gail got to write her, so it's good. Artwork by Fernando Passerian and Jonathan Glapian. So it looks like it's a bit of a different, darker Ragdoll than we're used to, but the artwork looks really, really good. Batgirl getting ready to take on Ragdoll. So, and just some crazy battles here. But Gail Simone absolutely loves Ragdoll and loves writing there, so I can't wait to read what Ragdoll is going to be doing in this issue of Batgirl number 31. And our last DC is Green Lantern Corps number 31, continuing the Uprising storyline. We're on part 2. This one's written by Van Jensen with art by Bernard Chang. Basic premise behind it is that the the universe has given up on the Green Lantern Corps and is starting to fight back and does not believe that they should be patrolling the universe anymore because of everything that's happened in the previous issues. And then, as I was just flipping through, because I haven't read it yet, a character that's been missing for a while is reappearing in this issue. So, Green Lantern Corps number 31, Uprising Part 2, Van Jensen, Bernard Chang. Pick it up. Continue reading Green Lantern. They are doing a spectacular job even after Jeff Johns and Pierre Tomasi left. The whole Green Lantern squad is doing fantastic. So, on that note, we're done with DC. Going on to Marvel now. Again, as I keep saying, I'm going to talk about this someday on my comic show, but again, Marvel, it's another week. Marvel has another new #1, and another one I'm going to check out, though I've never really been a big fan of his before, but I figured I'd check it out before. This is Deadly Hands of Kung Fu #1. The story, let me see the creative team. I just have last names on here. I'm going to try to get all the right name. Mike Benson is the writer, Tang Un Hut is the penciler, and Craig Young is the inks. I've heard of Tang Un Hut before. He did some Doom Patrol. Shang-Chi is the master of Kung Fu, and looks like he's going to have his own series now. So it looks very kinetic. It looks very what you expect from like a Kung Fu series. Helicopters blowing up. Some fight scenes. Let's see if I can get some Kung Fu fighting scenes. Yeah. Some Kung Fu fighting. Everybody's was Kung Fu fighting. Dun, 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 dun. Just as fast as lightning. So we shall see what's going on with this. I'll read it. I've been pleasantly surprised by some of the #1s and kind of on some of the other ones. So we'll see. My pick of the week from Marvel is a comic I enjoyed thoroughly. Its second issue is now out, Nightcrawler, #2. I enjoyed the first issue immensely. Nightcrawler is one of my favorite characters. Chris Claremont is the writer. He's very familiar with anyone who knows X-Men. He's writing this. And Todd Nook, who's doing a fantastic job on artwork, is the artist on this. So, issue 1 was a lot of fun. Here's hoping issue 2 is just as much fun. And you have to remember that Todd Nook is kind of a cartoony artist, but that's what you need for something like Nightcrawler. So some good stuff there. Looks like they're taking on a circus. So interesting. So highly recommend checking out Nightcrawler. It is a wonderful series. It's funny. The artwork is really good, and highly recommend it. So Nightcrawler #2 is my pick of the week from Marvel. Next up, we have Captain Marvel #3. My wife loves Captain Marvel. I still haven't had a chance to read it yet, but Kelly Sue DeConnick does a wonderful job, and David Lopez is on art. Captain Marvel is, from what I heard, a very good story. I've heard lots of people like it a lot, but my wife has read it and she enjoys it thoroughly. So it's continuing Carol Danvers' exploration in outer space. She's taken on aliens and bad guys and stuff like that. So I do have to say, though some people might not agree with me, I like the artwork on this series better than the previous series. So it looks like that she's teaming up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, who are going to be huge this summer with their new movie. So check it out. So pretty good. There's some Guardians of the Galaxy love here, and there's some Guardians of the Galaxy love right there. So check it out. It's Captain Marvel #3. Next up is the last one from Marvel. Once again, much like Astro City was from Vertigo, which is a imprint of DC, which is more mature readers. Marvel has one also, has a couple. This one is called Icon, which is more of a creator-owned story. And so we have another creator-owned comic from Brian Michael Bendis, who seems to never sleep because he seems to be writing everything over at Marvel. And his Powers partner, Michael Avon Oeming, have come out with a brand new creator-owned series called The United States of Murder, Inc. I don't know what it's about. I don't know anything about it. It has nothing to do with Powers from what I heard, but you put Bendis and Oming together, and it's absolute magic. So it's got the same, looks like the same quality of powers, just maybe not with the superpowers. This might be more of a regular type of comic. It seems to be the colors seem to be very big. Here's some. It is more for adults. There's some purples and blues. Here's some yellow. Explosion. It's a pretty thick book, and getting into some of the dark. So it's very Bendis-y, it's very Oming, and probably it will have a very Powers vibe to it. But I do recommend it, and check it out. There is some adult situations in it, violence, some nudity and sex. But United States Murder Inc. #1 is out this week. He seems to be writing everything. It's really funny. That's it for Marvel. Now, finally, getting close to wrapping this up, we're going to be doing our Independents. Let me see what my pick for Independents. Oh, okay, I got a couple. I have a couple of picks of the week for Independents. But first up, we've got Lumberjanes #2 from Boom Studios. This is a all-ages comic about a group of Girl Scouts, which is pretty big for me right now because my daughter is into Girl Scouts right now. Haven't read the first issue yet, but I'm thinking I want to try to read these comics to her. I think she'll really like it. It's by Noelle. This is by Noelle Stevenson. My daughter's name is Noelle. And Grace Ellis with artwork by Brooke Allen. So it sounds like it's a very woman-friendly stuff. So kind of cartoony artwork, but it's all ages. So recommend everybody check that out. I've heard really good things about it. I haven't read it, as I said, yet. Might have a slight Goodies vibe to it, but it's all girls though. So Lumberjanes #2 is out this week from Boom Studios. Starlight. Starlight #3 from Image. Mark Millar did the artwork, or not the artwork, wrote it, and Goran, what's his name? Goran Parlov did the artwork. What's interesting about this is that Starlight is basically Millar's version of Adam Strange, who, as I said, is one of my favorite characters, and I will be devoting a episode of my comics show of Dylan Knows about Adam Strange down the line. But it also harkens back to the Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, John Carter of Mars type person, the reluctant hero from Earth who gets transported to another planet to save the day. In this case, this is Millar's version of it, where he's an older person now. When he was younger, he came in and he was transported to another planet, helped save it, fell in love with the woman, stuff like that. But something caused him, and I think he got married to the woman, and they went back to Earth, and they just started living a regular life, and it wasn't as exciting as the adventures because there was no need for the adventures. But now his wife has passed on, and now he has to come back in his old age to come back and protect his planet, who has been taken over by, I'm assuming, these bad guys right here. So Goran Parlov's artwork is good. Millar, once again, is one of those who's off for me. I don't always like the stuff that he does, but I haven't read this yet, but this looks pretty good, actually, so I'm going to check it out. It's science fiction. Just on a side note, I'm a huge fan of Warren. I like Warren Ellis, and I think Jason Howard's good. Trees looks really good. This is coming up soon from them, so I'll definitely probably be picking that up and checking it out. But for now, check out Starlight #3. You might be able to find the first 2 issues already. Good artwork, science fiction. Should be a very interesting story once I get around to reading it. Now we come down to, I have 2 picks of the week, and then we're going to end this pretty quickly probably. First up is, I've never been a huge Archie fan. Archie comics has always seemed childish to me, and it always seems the same to me. However, when I heard that they were going to be doing a zombie version of Afterlife Archie, I was like, with Archie, called Afterlife with Archie. I thought, might be interesting. Then I heard that Francisco Francavilla was going to be doing the artwork. And Francesco, I should say, Francavilla was going to do artwork, who I absolutely love. And the stories are by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, who I love also. So I got to buy it. So glad I did. Afterlife with Archie #5 is out. It is a much darker Archie series. It's violent. It's dark. But it has all your characters that you're used to seeing. Archie, Jughead, Betty, Veronica, Hot Dog, all of them are in this. Sabrina is also. And it's just, story's great. The artwork is great. I mean, it's very moody. It's very particular, very zombie-esque. It's very un-Archie-like also. It's almost like a real world version of Archie, but it's about zombies. And pretty interesting. So I would highly recommend it here. I'll show you what Archie looks like here. It's a pretty good idea what Archie looks like. There he is. So, not your typical cartoony Archie, but Francesco Francavilla does a great job with the artwork. The only problem is he's such a guy he is. It takes him some time to do it. This issue should have been out a while ago, but it takes some time. It's okay. So, Afterlife with Archie is #5 is one of my picks of the week. Definitely pick it up if you can find the other 4. I recommend getting them all or waiting for trade whenever that comes out, because it's a brilliant story. It is a really good story. And it doesn't really have the Archie vibe you're looking for, but it also has a very modern pop culture-esque quality to it, which is good too. Come down to the wire. So now the last one is Hellboy. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund T-shirt with Hellboy on the cover. Hellboy in Hell. #6 came out right here. But before I talk about that, let me talk about the Hellboy in Hell The Descent trade paperback. Hellboy in Hell is a mini/regular series. I'm not exactly sure what Mignola is doing with it, but the basic thing you need to know is that after many battles and stuff like that, someone finally killed Hellboy and sent him back to Hell. And now this is Hellboy's adventures in Hell, trying to make his way back to Earth. And I got the first couple issues of the new series, and then I got into my phase where I didn't buy any comics for a while, so I lost track of it. But now it's back, and the newest issue, #6, it came out today. So the first 5 issues are in the trade, and I decided to pick it up because I didn't have the other issues. I have the first couple, but I don't have the rest of them. What's really great about Hellboy in Hell is I love Hellboy. Hellboy's always been a big fan. Big fan of me. No, I've been a big fan of him, and I've read pretty much all his stories and love them all because I love Mike Mignola. I love his artwork and I love his writing. And for a while there, he hadn't been drawing Hellboy for a long time. And then he came back and he drew Hellboy in Hell. So I'm really excited about it. So Hellboy in Hell is Mike Mignola's return to artwork, and it is perfect for him. Let's see if I can find a really good page to show, just to show off his. It's hard to say because there's so many. Here's a good one right here. Mignola's artwork is very distinct. I've been a big fan of Mignola for years, since the 80s, when he first was doing some Marvel, and he did some DC. Cosmic Odyssey is one of my favorite stories of all time, mainly due to his artwork. Gotham by Gaslight, a one-shot from about Batman, is one of my favorites also. And one of the first things he ever did was Phantom Stranger miniseries for DC back in the 80s, and his inker was P. Craig Russell, who, when the two of them get together, it just blows the doors off of everything. And I liked it so much that my very last Halloween costume that I ever did, because I was like 13, 14 years old, something like that, I was getting close to that age where I wasn't going to go trick-or-treating anymore, was a Phantom Stranger based on the miniseries with the artwork by Mike Mignola and P. Craig Russell. So I've been a huge fan of his. So I'm dying to read this storyline. So I need to read this, Hellboy in Hell, trade paperback first. which is the first 5 issues, and then I can get caught right back up because number 6 is out now. So it looks like he's going to be in hell for a little while. We don't know when or if he's going to come back, so it makes sense. It's Hellboy. It's what he does. So that is the comics haul for this week. Just real quick, something that did not make it on the haul, and I'll tell you why it didn't make it on the haul. But the reason why I didn't take it, I would highly recommend this. If you go to the comic book store this weekend, and I talked about this last week, I highly, 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 highly recommend picking up Manifest Destiny. The trade paperback came out this week for $10. $10, you get the first 5 or 6 issues. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe the first 6 issues. I highly recommend picking up Manifest Destiny trade paperback. You will love it. You will not be sorry to pick it up. I have all the issues. That's why I haven't picked up the trade, because I've read almost every issue. I'm up to the last one. I haven't read the latest one yet. So, but it's a great series, fantastic series. I highly recommend you pick it up for $10. You can't beat it. So, on that note, that is the end of the comics haul. Thanks for hanging out with me, even though I had no viewers the whole time. But hopefully you will pick this up when I tweet it out and set it up. So, real quick, tomorrow night at 9 o'clock will be Snark Alex Radio, which is what I'm a part of. I'm not part of Snark Alex Radio, but I'm part of the Snark Alex. But their weekly show is on tomorrow night, 9 p.m. So check that out. Check for the links there. I'll be retweeting the links probably, so you can follow along with them. Sunday, as I said earlier, will be my Dylan Knows Paranormal Show with Daphne de Larissa. We'll be talking about paranormal. I think we'll talk about some Loch Ness Monster, why people want to debunk things so badly, and Larissa's fun at a con, a paranormal con. So we should have some good stuff to talk about. Then the week after that is Memorial Day weekend. Yes, it is Memorial Day weekend. Probably Saturday the 24th. I will be doing part 2 of my Batman anniversary show with MJ Khan and DH Gamer. And that Sunday, on the 25th, will be my first regular episode of Dylan Knows International with Bronwyn, Tony Solo, and Mike from Pagan. So check that out. Should be a lot of fun. And then join me back here for June 1st, which will be my comic show, which I will have lovely Con Sweet Con and her husband Murderlotta on. They'll be talking con season and other comic stuff as well. So some big stuff coming up down the line. Thanks for watching, and once again, I may or may not see you next week, depending on financial aspects and if anything good comes out. So just keep an eye out, and we'll find out. All right. Thanks, guys, for hanging, and that broadcast button. There it is. Bye.